Good morning. My name is Karen Kong, and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to my This or That Thursday. So this week we're making this card, and I have a bit of a story to share with you this morning about how this card came to be. But I'm going to get set up on my computer first and wait for some friends to join and chat with me. If you're watching the replay, I would love to see some comments. Tell me where you're watching from, and just join in the fun. So just give me a second while I get the video streaming on my computer so that I can see all the comments while we're crafting. It feels like ages since I've been on, but I'm glad to be back. It's nice to be crafting again. I've missed it. Yeah, so I've been busy with dance competitions for the last couple of weekends. It's been crazy because the costumes weren't ready right before the competition started. So we were rhinestoning and adding appliques and tacking, hems that were too long and all that sort of thing. It was a little bit crazy, and everything fell off my list except for dance competitions. So the story behind this, okay, is that this card, I made it because I'm preparing for a seniors class tomorrow that I'm holding. I had promised kit class, and so I thought it would be an easy way to share card making in the middle of all this dance competition craziness. It would be an easy way to have a class, and I was waiting for people to sign up, and I had originally set my registration date as April 1st. And so I had nobody sign up at first. And I think it was just a matter of the difference in timing of when I advertised the class with the community center and when their newsletter actually went live. So I think some of the electronic, like the digital stuff, the newsletter went out earlier. So some people knew about the class, but not very many until the actual newsletter went out on April 1st, which was the deadline originally. And so all of a sudden, April 1st, I was starting to get some registrations. And in order to order for this class on time, I thought originally I planned to order like somewhere around the very beginning of April because the class is on the 19th. So what happened was when I started getting these registrations, I was thinking, oh, it's a kit class. I could probably handle some more people. Let's hold off closing the registration because I thought I had enough time, and I wasn't thinking clearly, and I was busy with dance comp stuff, and so I thought, okay, I'll extend it out a week, and so in extending it out a week, I was assuming that shipping would happen quickly. I mean, when you order from Stampin' Up, when it's a regular kind of time period, when there's nothing special going on. Good morning, Sandra. I'm just talking about how this card came to be. I'm talking about the whole ordering thing. So anyways, I thought that it would ship out, excuse me, within a day or so, and it would be at my doorstep within 5 to 6 business days. So under that assumption, that's how I decided, okay, it would be okay to extend my registration. I did not take into account that demonstrators were busy pre-ordering for the new catalog. Oh, I don't have it with me. Anyways, so yes, people are busy ordering for the new catalog, and then a week later, Stampin' Up! Had their last chance sale start as well. So it was really busy in the warehouse for packing and shipping orders, but I was not in the right frame of mind. I wasn't thinking about this, and then suddenly I realized, I think it was April 8th, I woke up and I suddenly realized that if I didn't get my order in, I wouldn't be guaranteed I would have those kits arrive in time, because I suddenly realized that the last chance sale was starting the next day and people would be putting in orders like crazy. So I was I was a little bit panicked and I said, okay, let's cut off the registration right now. No more people can sign up. I'm ordering right now. And I ordered right away, which was like 9 business days away from tomorrow. Okay, so I was crossing my fingers and hoping that those kits would arrive because I had 8 people signed up. I had told them in the class description that we were making 9 cards. Now, normally, if I was going to do a stamping class, I would limit it to just 3 cards, especially if there are a whole bunch of new stampers. And I was pretty sure that there were going to be a lot of new stampers in this class. So to promise 9 cards that are all stamping projects, that was a bit ambitious. um, because, sorry, I have to backtrack a bit. The kit that I ordered was a non-stamping kit. It was just going to be assembly, it was going to be relaxed, and they would have their kit that they could just take home with all the instructions and assemble it themselves, and it would be no problem. Of course, with no kits, okay, so the kits, we've been tracking the order and the shipping, and it went out several days later than I expected, and it originally said that it was going to arrive like the following Tuesday, like the 23rd or something, which was obviously far too late for the class, and I suddenly had to design for 9 cards, and I was a little bit stressed. But anyways, I did come up with these cards. So this is where these cards came from. I designed this card as part of this class, and it is fairly simple. And I think you can reuse the layout for a lot of different DSPs, and you can change it up with different dies. So yes, so that's one of the cards that I designed for this class, because now I have to create cards, 9 cards per person for tomorrow's class. And we started, my friend Sandra here was really helpful and got me going and helped me out with preparing for this class. So I'm nearly done making 72 cards, plus a set for me. So 3 designs and 3 cards for each design. So everybody got 9, will be getting 9 cards tomorrow. But it is an ambitious endeavor to work with new stampers and get 9 cards done in a 2-hour time span. So I had to keep it simple and try and make it easy. And I'm really hopeful that we're going to make it through all 9 cards tomorrow. And we planned it so that they can take the rest of the pieces home and finish them if they absolutely need to, if there's not enough time. So it's been a real experience planning for this class. Anyway, so that's the whole story behind it. It's funny and not funny at the same time, because it was a kind of stressful planning for this and trying to work with beginner stampers as well as people who don't have any supplies, right? Because I'm sending it home if they can't finish it all in class. So we've prepped everything. They have tear and tape on the back for a lot of the pieces, so they don't have to even use glue. There is a little bit of gluing, but not very much. But the layout is simple, and they should be able to do it on their own. Once we've completed one of each card, they'll have their sample and they can take it home and work on it themselves if they don't have enough time to finish it. So that is how these cards came to be. And I'm pretty happy with them. Like, it's a very simple design, but I think it's really pretty. I used the Splendid Day DSP. Yeah, I know, Sandra, we are both off of tear and tape for a bit, aren't we? We have been tearing and taping lots and lots of mats. I still am not done. I still have one more set to go. I'm pretty sure it'll be done tonight. But yeah, so I used the Retired Splendid Day DSP, which is so pretty. I've used up, I realized this morning when I went to kind of start preparing for this live that I would have to break into my 3rd pack of DSP if I wanted to use this same DSP, because I've used up all this green DSP in the background for the classes, for the class tomorrow. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change it up, and I'm going to use this one instead. So we're going to use the fresh freesia instead because I have a big enough piece for that, and we'll change it up a little bit for this live. So let's get started. That was a long story about how this card came to be. I'm sorry if it was a little bit all over the place. I'm kind of tired. It's been a long couple weeks. And the weekends when I would normally have some time to sleep in, well, I was up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. to get up and do hair and makeup, so I haven't had a chance to catch up. So anyways, let's get started, and I'm going to switch my camera over to my desktop, so just close your eyes while I move my phone. Yeah, Sandra, I really like the seafoam too. It's really pretty. That's why I don't want to open up a new pack and start on that new, like cut up a whole new 12 by 12 piece to do this. I thought I would use some of the leftover pieces that I have to switch it up. Not a bad thing, right? I am trying to straighten out my phone. Sorry. So, I wanted to tell you that Tara has suggested that I laminate my grid paper, and that was a fantastic idea, and that's what I did. So my grid paper, I usually have paper, just a paper one down here, and the edges down at the bottom of my paper would get all torn up because I would be moving stuff across my desk, and of course it kind of just gets worn out, right? But now that it's laminated, it's like, it looks great. It looks great all the time. So I'm really happy about that. And it was just, what, $6-7 to do that at like Staples. It was really, really good. So, all right, so let's get started. I have the Splendid Day DSP here. I also use the Splendid Thoughts die. It's a die from inside the Splendid Thoughts die set to cut out this little cutout on the front, and then I took the sentiment from Happiness Abounds. I really love the sentiments here, the script, and the combination with the I don't know, the block capitals. I like that. Okay, so it's white cardstock. Let's get started on cutting all the pieces we need. I'm going to get my paper trimmer out. Yes, the Calypso Coral. That's a different, kind of a different color to use for this set. Not the same kind of like soft colors as the freesia, as the seafoam, but it's pretty. Okay, so this is a regular 8.5 by 11 cardstock cut in half, so I'm just going to cut it in half at 5.5 along the long edge. Okay, and then I'm going to score it at 4.25 to get my card base. Okay, using the scoring blade. All right, so there's my card base. And if you're watching for the first time, I always post the measurements in the video description after the video is done. So don't worry about having to rush to write things down if you're trying to, if you're planning to case this card after. So there's a white mat here. I don't know if you can see it well here, but you can probably see it in the picture better. It's embossed with the subtle 3D embossing folder. And that piece is 4 by 5.25. So I'm going to take the other half of my piece of paper. I'm going to cut off 4 inches here. And then trim it down to 5.25. Okay, so that's my, that's the background piece there. My DSP is, it is 3 by 5.25, and I'm just going to double check that. I'm always double checking, triple checking, because once you cut it, that's it. You know, it's 3 by 5.25. Okay, so this is, oh, this is 5 inches. Oh, I was just thinking about that, darn. Before I started, I had actually measured this and I thought, oh, it's 1/4 inch too short. And I completely forgot what I was going to do about it. And think the caffeine has not kicked in from my coffee yet. Let me just think. We could make this smaller, like make this whole thing 1/4 of an inch smaller. I'm not sure how it would look, but I guess we'll give it a try. All right, so it's 5 inches, so that means I'm gonna have to trim this piece, oops, not that piece, this piece down to 5 inches as well, so that it matches. Okay. Oh, Tara, good morning. Oh, you won't be able to stay. Okay, she's busy, but she will come back. Okay, so in order for this to, I'm going to try this out. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but this is reality crafting, and this is what happens. So I will post the measurements for both sets. So, but this one, I'm going to have to cut it down so that my fresh freesia will fit exactly end to end, just like it does on this card. So let's make this 5 inches before I forget. This is going to be fun. I'm not going to know exactly how this is going to look with the different, slightly different dimensions, but let's see how it turns out. Okay, so now this is 5 inches. This is 5 inches, but I need this to be 3 inches wide. I'm going to save this piece for something else. Okay, so I feel like that's crooked. What's wrong with this? No, it looks fine. Okay, just me. All right, 3 inches. And then the top piece here is 2 1/4 inches by 5 1/4. Well, it's gonna be 5 now, 2 1/4 inches. So I'm gonna take that other leftover piece here, 2 1/4 inches, and it's going to be 5 inches wide. I'm going to turn it around this way. All right, so those are the three layers of my card. I think I'm done with this. All right, so I have to emboss my bottom piece, and I need to die cut this piece. Now I want to give you a tip for making multiples. So because I was making 24 of these for the class, I wanted to make sure that my die cut is in the exact same spot, because for my class I'm going to bring my stamparatus to make it easy, because it's a group of seniors and new stampers, to make it easy for them to position the sentiment exactly where we want it so that it looks the same as the sample card that I'm showing them, and easy to get it done, right? So instead of having to spend time, trying to figure out exactly where it goes, they will just be able to ink it up on my stamparatus and just stamp it. And so I needed to have the stamp placement in the same spot as where I next to my die cut, so that I realized that when I was making these cards, I wanted my die cut in the exact same spot so that it would line up properly, because I didn't want like the leaves to be in the wrong spot, tilted over too far, or in the way. So anyways, to do this, I made a template. So here's my template, but my template is a little bit, now it's different. My template was longer, right? In any case, what I did was I cut all my pieces the same size, right? And I cut my first one, and then I used the hole to position my die cut on every following piece so that I knew that it would be in the same spot, and I could position my stamp on my stamparatus to line up where I want it to be every single time. So, so because I'm not making 72 of this card, I'm okay to just wing it and just put it where I think it goes, okay? So let's go ahead with cutting and embossing. We need to bring over the cut and emboss machine. Just let me make some room. All right. So let's emboss the bottom layer first. So I'm going to need to remove my plates. And if you're new to using a cut and emboss machine, all the instructions for the layers are always on the bottom plate, the base one. So you don't have to panic about having to memorize how to put it together every single time. The instructions are all there. So for a 3D embossing folder, I only need the very bottom piece and the number 4 plate on top. Okay, and you always face the seam of the fold, I guess, of the plate of the embossing folder towards the inside. It goes through first. Okay, so let me just push that through. Okay, so now I've got my papers embossed. You see that? And then I'm going to die cut my little leaf out of the top sentiment mat. So I need to bring back the other plates. And I'm just going to take my die and position it here. I think that looks good. All right. And let's run that through. Okay, I think that's it for the die cutting, so I can put this away. Let me get it out of the way, and then we'll get our little die cut pushed out. Okay, let's bring that back and all my pieces. Okay, so now we have a nice little hole that you'll see the DSP through behind it. I'm just going to poke these out. There we go. And if you have a take your pick tool, you have a pointy end to push out the ejection holes, because it's stuck on my die. There we go. And I just pull gently because otherwise it can kind of warp the paper if you pull too hard. There we go. So we're going to save that piece. All right. So now, really easy assembly. So let's burnish our fold on our card with our bone folder. And I try to make sure the corners are lined up before I start doing this, but I'm sure it'll be fine. All right. So this, I'm just going to line it up first and see how it looks. So this is just going to go right across the middle. Just a little black speck here. Just a second. Okay. So, all right. So there's a wider gap on the sides than there is the top and the bottom. So let's see how it looks and if I need to adjust. All right. I think it might look better if I just take off a little bit off the top and bottom. What do you think, Sandra? Because it's just I like it. I think I'd like it to be even all the way around. So I took a 1/4 inch off the the width. So sorry, the length. So I'm going to take off another 1/4 inch off the top and the bottom, I think. Okay, so let's go ahead with that. Let's just take that off, and then I think it'll look a little better proportionally. So this is 4 inches. I'm going to take off 1/4 of an inch. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you for agreeing with me. All right, let's see how that looks now. I think that's going to look better. Yeah, I think that looks better. Yes, I think that looks better. All right. Okay, so easy assembly. So I'm just going to use glue for this. And I'm just going to put a thin line. So I don't want to put it too close to the edge, because when you squish it down, you don't want the glue sticking out. And if you leave a little bit of space, it'll allow you to kind of shift it around if you, once you've placed it down, if you think that it's not quite in the right place, and then the glue won't be showing because you didn't put it right to the edge. So there we go. All right. That's one. And then this will simply be centered on top vertically, and then it goes side to side, right? So with the shiny DSP, you can't use glue, because what happens is that you can see the line of glue right through the paper. So you have to use Stamp and Seal for this. Or you can use tear and tape, but we're not using tear and tape right now because I think we're a little tired of it. No, it's fine. Stamp and Seal is faster when you're working live, but tear and tape is also an excellent choice. And it actually, I think it's a bit stronger than the Stamp and Seal that's in here. So it's a good choice for many of the fun folds. And but for this, I'm using Stamp and Seal. So I'm just lining up side to side because they are the same length, and centering it top to bottom. Okay, so this I need to stamp before I put it on. I don't know where these little black dots came from. I think because my my mats are a little bit, they've got stuff stuck on them or something. Not liking these little black dots here. Let me just see if I can do something about this. So Sandra got me this oh good, this little like rubber eraser or whatever. It just kind of moves glue off of it, and I suspect that maybe there's a little bits of glue on my plates because I was cutting through like adhesive sheets, and then it sticks to, like, you know, little bits of ink. Oh, look at how well that worked, Miss Sandra, thank you. She's a lifesaver. So yeah, that worked really well. It took off those little like black dots. Adhesive eraser. Thank you very much. I didn't know what it was called anymore. Okay, so we need to stamp this. All right, so this is the Stamparatus. I know it is no longer available from Stampin' Up, which was a super sad day when they stopped offering this. All right. So I always use the lines to help me line things up. So I'm lining it up here to here, because if it accidentally moves while I am stamping and I want to stamp it again, I know where to line it up. So I'm pressing it straight up against the top and lining it up between these two grid marks. And let's get out the stamp. It is sending many thanks for all you do. So I'm just going to make sure it's just going to be centered next to my leaf. And I'm just picking it up a little bit so I can see that it is straight. I think that looks good. Oh, I don't have my black mat underneath. See? Reality stamping. Okay, so for the photopolymer stamps, I have to have the black mat, the foam mat underneath, so that it raises it up, because it doesn't have that extra foam like the red cling stamps do. So I need it a little higher so that it stamps flat. So I'm just going to double check, and that looks good. And I'm going to put my stamp pad, the stamp case underneath so I can ink up flat. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to check that my entire stamp has the ink on the entire surface. That looks good now. And I think that looks pretty good. It could be a little darker on this side, so I'm just going to ink it up a little bit more on the one side there, and we'll just add a little bit more ink. That looks great. Just going to grab my chamois and clean it off. And we can take this off now. All right, let's bring this back. So for this, I could use glue or I could use tear and tape to adhere this. Because it's really thin along there, I think I'm going to use, and thin right here, I'm going to use tear and tape. Because the tear and tape is thinner, if you see, like it's thinner than the stamp and seal. So it's perfect for getting in these skinnier locations. So I'll put it up to the, I don't know if it's like, let me just see. See, it'll be over the tip of the leaf there. So I'll just go up to the leaf and I won't go right on it. Okay, and I'll put strip down there. Where did the end go? Okay. And let's put a smaller piece there so that I don't go over the end of the stem and have that sticking out. Yes, it did for the ones that you did, Sandra, but remember this one I just kind of winged it as far as the location went, right? Because I didn't use my template to position my leaf die, so it's slightly different for this one. There we go. And if you want, you could always add a few dots of glue here to keep these from raising up on the card, but I think it should be okay. So let's just take the backing off and we'll adhere it to the card. Today is a rainy, gray day, so it's kind of nice to be inside crafting. Perfect day for crafting. I don't feel guilty about not going outside and getting some sunshine. Alright, so let's center this vertically. And I always work from one side before I lay it down. That looks good. Alright, so now that die cut that you have is going to go back in here. Okay, I am not going to glue every single edge of leaf. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little dot of glue here at the stem, and that's all we really need. And I think it looks it looks more interesting with the leaves kind of coming out a little bit. I think that looks good actually, so I don't want to glue all of it down. So this is perfect. This the Tombow glue is perfect for squeezing out tiny little dots. You really don't need a lot to hold it down. So if you see that, it's just in the, you know, the widest parts of the die cut, so that's easiest to apply. And I like to use tweezers all the time because it helps me position small die cuts, or even, oh, reality crafting. Just a tiny dot of glue there. Okay, so now I'll just place it right where the die cut hole is. And I'm just going to press on it to make sure it adheres. So I'll lift this one out actually, so it's, there we go. I think it adds interest to have it lifted slightly off the paper, so it's good that we're not gluing it all. And because it's fresh freesia, I have fresh freesia ribbon that I'm going to just tie a knot. It's just a very simple knot here that I'm tying, and I do it right on the spool so I don't get any waste, because I actually tried cutting off like this length of ribbon and trying to tie it, and it's pretty much impossible. So I tie it right on the spool, because then I don't have to cut extra length to tie my knot and then have to trim it back. I am able to avoid wasting the excess, so I just tie it right on the spool, and that allows me to also adjust the length of my ribbon. If it's not right, I can just undo the knot and start again and not have wasted anything at all. So it's not a tight knot, it's just a loose one. So I'm just kind of shaping the knot itself. There. See, I'm not tying it tight. Okay. So let's trim it now. And I'm just going to trim this end because it's got a little bit misshapen from handling. Okay. And I'm just going to use a glue dot to attach it right on top of the stem. So let's see, I'm almost to the end of this. Okay, so I have a few more glue dots. I'm just going to take this, place it right on top of the glue dot. And then I'll peel it off with the glue dot on. There we go. And let's stick this down. I think I want this way. Just gonna stick it down right here. And there is the card. Pretty fast. So if I wanted to, I could take this extra piece here. I could trim it down even skinnier if I wanted to, and put an extra liner here. So I think I will do that today. I'll just show you. Actually, I think I'm going to print something. I have a use for this in mind already, and I want to actually print a kind of more lengthy note. My handwriting is getting to the point where it's almost unreadable, I think. And I don't want the person who's receiving having to like decipher what is being said. So anyways, I will put the mat, and I'll add maybe 1/4 of an inch of this. Oh, this is too short. Oh, you know what? I'll trim it down too. I'll trim it down to 5 inches, and add this, and it just adds a really nice coordinating touch on the inside. So that's what I'm going to save this little strip for. So today was a really easy card, and you can see you can use different, you know, die cuts. You could try what you have, as it's going to have to be an outline if you want it to see, if you want to see the DSP underneath. And if you have the splendid day, even better, because this is exactly, it just works out so well. And then I'm going to try this with another sentiment, I think. Something, another longer piece, you know, long sentiment that will fit in there. So that is it for today. It's an easy card, and I hope that you'll be able to find something to inspire you and to create something with this layout. And I hope you guys have a great week. Hopefully I'll see you again next week before another 2 weeks of dance competitions start. And I'll be away for those ones, so I definitely won't be able to do any lives. I won't have any time to prepare for my lives, but I will miss you guys, and I will be back after that, but hopefully back again next week. So have a great week, everybody, and enjoy making some cards. Bye.